May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's important to remember services and support that is available, even the highest of achievers.
And this morning, we're getting some tips to help mentally and emotionally reset the minds of those high achievers.
We're joined now by author and mental health therapist, Dr. Toni Warner, with more. Good morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Fantastic. So we're specifically talking about high achievers and the mental health tips for those people. So I guess first, could you just kind of define what high achievers would be?
I think that's such a good question, and I'm glad you asked, because high achievement is so often associated maybe with someone that's like a sweet level person, or someone that's really high up in their career or something like that. But high achievement can encapsulate so many people. It's a myth that it's only certain kinds of people. Someone that's really pushing themselves for accomplishment, they really care about goals and they're focused on those goals. They're really wanting to be productive. That's really important to them, and they want to do well in all that they do. That could be a mom that really pushes herself and wants to do well for everyone all of the time. That could be a student. In fact, we're seeing a lot of statistics that continue to show us how much students are struggling with stress and anxiety because of the excellence that they push on themselves and feel pushed on them.
The people pleasers.
Yes.
So what are your tips for that mental reset to, give yourself that break and, take a couple of minutes a day and live in the moment and actually look outward rather than stressing on, tomorrow and what the tasks that we still have to get done?
Let's break it down into three. Okay. We can make it really simple. All right. We're going to redefine success. We're going to rethink balance, and we're going to reframe compare and despair. So let me tell you quick about what that means. A lot of times we focus success on meaning I need to prove myself. I can't disappoint anyone. I don't want to fail. That is not a version of success that is going to lead to fulfillment. It's going to burn you out, right? So we want to redefine success. Sit down, ask yourself, maybe write it down. If I release the pressure of disappointment of others, of fear of being judged, of having to be the responsible one, if I release that pressure, what would today look like for me? How would I be? How would I show up? What would that version of success feel? So redefine success. Now rethink balance. A lot of times we think of balance walking on that tight wire, juggling everything in the air. Is that not the definition of success, of stress, right? We don't want to feel stressed all the time. Instead, let's rethink what balance actually is, the way nature intended, which is an ebb and a flow. Choose one thing to focus on that one thing for a certain period of time, and then allow yourself to pick something else from that list of to-dos or whatever else you have. Rethink what balance actually is for you. It's not doing a whole ton at once. It's actually choosing one thing to focus on at one time. It's going to optimize your brain. And then reframe compare and despair. A lot of times when we look at other people, we say, oh, they're doing this way, they're doing this way. Social media helps us do this a lot, right? So we compare ourselves and then we despair. And if we are feeling despair by looking at ourselves through others' eyes in a way that only we are thinking of what they're thinking, we don't actually know what they're thinking. Instead, we can look at other people, see their success, and say, if they can do it, there must be possibilities for me. They must be endless possibilities. We can make compare and despair and shift it, reframe it into compare and inspire.
Almost like a positive spin on that.
Yeah.
All right, so if somebody's watching at home and they are a high achiever and they just listen to that list and they're thinking, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to tackle all of that at once? What would be your advice to them?
Pick one. Us as high achievers, we want to do it all. So here's your first challenge. Pick one. Just pick one, and that's enough. That is enough. If you pick one and focus on it, you'll feel a difference. I have a book to support you with that. It's on Amazon, Reset, High Achiever's Guide. It gives you an actual roadmap to get unstuck if you are someone that is a high achiever and wants to feel more fulfilled.
Would you mind going into, and tell us a little bit more about yourself and how resetting has impacted you personally?
Yes, and I'm going to try to be succinct, so you keep me on track with that, okay?
Yeah.
I'm a mom of 4, 6 months old, 5 years old, 10 years old, and 13 years old. And I started out as a single mom while I was actually in grad school. So by the time I was 30, I had achieved my lofty goals, earned my PhD, had my third, owned my home, owned my car, had a great job, salaried, good healthcare, wasn't fulfilled. Achieved all those lofty goals and wasn't fulfilled. And that's how the reset was born, because I had this time in my life, I'm like, I hit all the goals I had for myself, and I'm not feeling fulfilled. That doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. I'm not feeling free. I'm not feeling fulfilled, but I'm supposed to, right?
Yeah.
American dream, right?
Yeah.
I feel like at that point you're supposed to just, I don't know, a lot of people in your situation would then just say, okay, I need to move the goalpost further away, and we just keep on stretching ourselves thin and going for something else that will probably be equally as unfulfilling.
Yes, I call that looking like an outward success while feeling like an inward mess, right?
Oh.
Just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. Like, no, we want to feel inwardly successful. We got it flipped. It's not about looking outwardly successful. It's about feeling inwardly successful. So instead of moving that goalpost more and more and more, that's the time for us to turn in and say, intrinsically, what is so meaningful to me? And why? And how can I begin to move in that direction, do things that allow me to support that direction? And that's actually how I wound up creating my businesses as well. My businesses were not goals for me. I hadn't had that on my goal sheet. They came from a place of meaning when I was resetting in my life.
And that's led to the success of it all. Thank you so much for waking up and talking about this. The book is The Reset, A High Achiever's Guide to Freedom and Fulfillment. It's available on Amazon.